Your Waukesha parade donations might not be going directly to victims. In fact, the United for Waukesha Community Fund has raised more than $5.7 million since the parade attack last fall. Fox 6 investigator Bryan Polcyn shows us the controversial plan for splitting up the fund that one victim's advocate calls a money grab.
The first time his base came under rocket fire in Baghdad,
I remember it vividly.
Bryan Polcyn was consumed by a dread he still can't put into words.
It's hard to explain.
A trauma he thought would never be equal. Until this.
It was terrible, and it's hard to think about.
The U.S. Army veteran watched with his daughters as his niece marched by in the Waukesha Christmas parade moments before an SUV came barreling through.
She doesn't really remember much from that time, thank God.
11-year-old Jessalyn Torres suffered a broken pelvis, fractured skull, organ damage, and road rash.
She's a tough kid.
Before uttering 5 heartbreaking words that made headlines around the world. Just glue me back together.
When something like this happens, people feel helpless, and so you want to help.
It was for victims like Jessalyn that the Waukesha County Community Foundation sprang into action, creating the United for Waukesha Community Fund.
One central place that people could come to, that we could share widely across the world.
Executive Director Melissa Baxter says the fund has now collected more than $5.7 million.
It's affirming.
But it's where some of that money could soon be going that has Anita Bush sounding the alarm.
After mass casualty crime, it seems like everybody has their hands out except for the victims who are suffering so badly.
She is president of Victims First, a nonprofit formed after a Colorado theater shooting that killed 12 people, including her cousin, Michaela Medic, whose father grew up in South Milwaukee.
Donations were pouring in from all over the world.
Bush and others fought to ensure victims got that money. And soon after, she co-founded the National Compassion Fund, which has helped distribute $95 million to mass casualty victims from Las Vegas to Parkland, Florida, El Paso to Charlottesville, to the Miller Valley in Milwaukee, and the Roundy's Warehouse in Oconomowoc. In every case, she says, 100% of donations have gone directly to victims and their families.
That's not what traditionally had happened before the National Compassion Fund was established.
After the parade attack, Bush says the Waukesha County Community Foundation assured her they would do the same. But then she says,
United Way got involved.
Some of this feels like semantics. Some of this feels a little bit like just an attack on United Way.
Nicole Angrisano is a vice president for United Way of Milwaukee and Waukesha County, which solicited donations to support the impacted families in Waukesha.
Nowhere on our website does it say direct payments to families. It says support for families.
She is also one of 9 committee members deciding who gets that money.
We consider the nonprofit sector to be part of that support.
Angrisano says those who lost loved ones, were hospitalized, or even just witnessed the attack will get most of the money, but not all of it.
We think there's going to be an increased demand on mental health services.
The fund's formal plan for giving out the money lists 8 social service agencies that are designated to receive priority grant funding. Federal tax records show those 8 charities already get more than $36 million a year in contributions and grants, including Impact 211, a United Way partner since 1965. Bush calls that an apparent conflict of interest.
I don't understand the term conflict of interest. Impact 211 getting money to support this work has nothing to do with United Way. We don't benefit from that financially.
Angrisano says United Way won't make a penny from the Waukesha Fund. It is foregoing its usual administrative fees. Still, she believes nonprofits deserve a piece of the pie. She just won't say how much.
I'm reticent to comment on this because the community fund is really operating the financial side of things.
The foundation didn't want to say either.
Again, that will be a very small percentage.
Do you have any idea what that percentage might look like?
That will be a decision for the committee.
It'll be a much smaller amount than the direct payments will be.
When I say small, I mean small.
Baxter eventually said nonprofits might get around 5%, or a little less than $300,000.
There you go.
Whether that's a little or a lot may be a matter of perspective.
Let's try this ramp. Let's do it.
But to Bryan Polcyn, that's not really the point.
When these people opened their wallets and donated to the fund, it was for the victims.
Some whose lives have ended, others whose lives will never be the same.
If you or a loved one was injured in the parade, or in fact, if you were just at the parade, you may be eligible to receive some of these funds, but you have to act fast. The deadline for filing claims is this coming Monday, February 28th. We have links and a claim form, as well as a copy of the official plan for fund distribution. It's all on our website, fox6now.com, or on the Fox 6 News app. Bryan Polcyn, Fox 6 Investigators.
Bryan, thank you. The Waukesha County Community Foundation tells Fox 6 just because a charity is listed as eligible for grant funding does not mean they will actually apply. In fact, Impact 211 tells us they have no plans to apply, and so far only one nonprofit has filed a claim, but the foundation won't say who that is until distributions are actually made public.